Honorable Minister of Information, distinguished gentlemen on the high table. I wonder why there are no ladies here. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, my fellow participants, comrades, and friends. I'm afraid I don't have good news. In fact, I have bad news. For those of you who do not know it already, Africa lost one of our greatest pillars today. We heard on the news that Professor Wangari Mathai, the first African woman to win the Nobel Prize in 2004, has passed on. Professor Wangari Mathai was a social activist of the first order. She was also an environmentalist of distinction. She was a person of great personal stature and conviction, and for her ideas, she was often arrested and imprisoned, sometimes trying to defend other people. This year, in November, Africa will be hosting the United Nations Conference on Climate Change. Professor Wangari Mathai has been, on previous occasions, in previous conferences, a solid voice championing the cause of Africa. She will not be there this year, but we know that her ideas, the force of her example, will continue and will inspire the African delegations and the African Union in their very important negotiations for one of the greatest threats to our existence on this planet, climate change. We also know that Professor Wangari Mathai was a gender activist. She empowered Kenyan society to understand the value of women. She also empowered Kenyan women to rise up in the rural areas and to plant 1 million trees. Can you imagine planting 1 million new trees using the organization she had created, the Green Belt Movement? She was also a role model for young women who wanted to go into science, who could see her as somebody rising up from the villages and becoming one of the most important figures of the world in the field of science. She was also very active in the defense of human rights. This is indeed an African giant who has left us today in the flesh. But I am convinced that her example and her words and her ideas will live on. It is for that reason, Honorable Minister, ladies and gentlemen, with your kind permission, I will ask this House to rise and do honor to one of our greatest by observing 1 minute of silence. Thank you. I'd like on all our behalfs to request Dr. Wambui Kiai from the School of Journalism, University of Nairobi, and Mr. John Wandikwa of the Kenyan Ministry of Education to convey to that grieving nation and to the family our deepest condolences. Let me also say that we have available a documentary series on 6 prominent African women, which was created by a woman television producer and filmmaker of Tanzania called Unsung Heroes. And among the 6 personalities profiled in these half-hour documentaries is Professor Wangari Mathai. With the permission of the organizers, would like to screen this just at the end of the lunch break before the beginning session, so that anyone who has time and who wants to come can see this and relive some of the important ideas and the great personality of Professor Wangari Mathai. Thank you very much.